Some people are always grumbling because roses have thorns. I am thankful that thorns have roses. Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Carr, and thank you, sir. I like that.
I like that too. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hello!
Hi!
Hi, everybody! Welcome back to another episode of
PositiviTea!
Good Vibes by the Spoonful. I'm your host, Miss Mary Lou Ryan.
I'm your other host, Mr. Jacob Kahn.
I like that. That's very nice.
Okay.
Mr. Jacob Kahn.
Wow.
Oh, shoot.
So formal.
Yeah. Hi, I hope you all had a wonderful week since we last were in your ears, or since you last saw us. That was a good quote, Jacob.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. It's got a silver lining sort of thing about it, and it's a good way to focus your positivity in the universe.
Totally. And speaking of tea, what are you drinking today?
I have some Taiwan High Mountain Oolong from Bird Pick Tea and Herb.
Ooh.
And it's still very hot. As I have a Star Trek mug here, and Kirk has not dematerialized yet, so it's still too hot to drink.
Jacob has a travel mug that's a Star Trek the original series, and there is a little transporter on the front of it, and when there is a hot beverage in it, Captain Kirk appears.
And because he's still on the ship because it's too hot to beam down to the planet.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know. That's my justification.
That's really funny.
So,
is it good?
It's good. It's hot, but it's very good. What about you? What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking Kimoon Black Tea, also from Bird Pick Herb. Bird Pick is a local tea place that was in Old Town Pasadena, but they had to close their doors recently. They're still available online while they look for another location. So I am excited for them to find that.
Try them out if you get a chance. They have some really, really wonderful tea blends.
Yeah, it's really delicious. A while back, we got a black tea sampler pack and an oolong sampler pack, and these are both from those, and it's just,
Magic.
It's like so soft and lightly floral and lovely. And my mug is not as cool as Jacob's mug, but it is a big mug that just says "Yas" on it, so.
Arguably cooler.
I mean, I don't know. I think Star Trek is pretty nifty.
Wouldn't it be really cool if these two mugs had a hybrid mug child and it had Captain Kirk beaming down to a planet saying, "Yas, planet, yas." Mary's still on bed rest, which is, of course, why we have her propped up at this table.
Oh, I don't
So
sit in
sorry.
chairs very much, you guys. I haven't been filming the rest of my shows for the YouTube channel in my regular spots in chairs because chairs are just hard. Couches and beds are preferable. So from last week's self-care experiments, you said you were working on looking forward to things, including this podcast. How's that been going for you this past week?
It's been helping a lot, and I've been doing it. I really have been actively thinking to myself when I wake up in the morning, what have I got going on today, tomorrow, and next week? What am I, excited about? And that really puts a positive spin on just my approach to everything. And that's really cool. And this has definitely been helping, having this as a weekly recurring segment of my life.
Yeah, you really like routine.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I crave it. I don't need it everywhere, but it's something you don't, maybe you don't realize when you're younger that if you have a routine just sort of set in place, whether it's school or extracurricular or whatever, something that you just do regularly, when that goes away, when you have that adult freedom to just, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and you don't have to do lots of things, sometimes, you crave that routine. So
Yeah, for sure.
when you said last week you were working on trying to be comfortable with patients and with asking for assistance as well especially while you're recovering, but just in general. So
Yeah.
how's that been?
So for those of you that missed last week, I had ankle surgery actually about 2 weeks ago, a little more than 2 weeks ago. And it's been painful and it's been a challenge. I'm officially in a hard cast now. It's black. It's very sexy.
It's fiberglass.
I know. My leg is going to be all shriveled and weird when it comes out of that cast, but you know what? That's just a part of how it goes.
No, it'll be all battle scarred and cool.
I know. Yo, I'm going to have a really, really cool scar on my ankle. It's going to be like Scarface, but on my foot. So like Scarfoot. So yeah, last week I was practicing patience and not being afraid to ask for help because it is quite a long recovery process. And I would say I've been doing really well. I've had lots of fun creative projects to work on to keep me busy while also sleeping and resting.
Sleeping is great.
Yes.
You gotta sleep.
You gotta rest.
And you got the time to do it, and that's awesome because you need it.
I know. It has been a little bit of a struggle this week in the sense that, so I'm very prone to migraines. It's a part of my like chronic illness umbrella, and being laid back and on the couch and in bed all the time has prompted several migraines in the last couple weeks alone. And that's been difficult, and being patient with myself with that, because that's something that I struggle with. It's like, don't blame yourself that you have a migraine. Just breathe, stretch, take your meds if you can, because you're not supposed to take them that often. That's one thing that's really hard with getting migraines frequently.
Migraine medication,
yeah, the migraine medication you're not supposed to take terribly often. So that has been a little bit of a challenge in general. But other than that, I think I've been doing pretty well, not really sinking into the, oh, I'm on the couch, woe is me, what am I going to do? Just knowing, hey, this is a part of the process, and just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, and with patience as well, especially with something like this, being able to let yourself know that, you know, it's maybe not as easy to just get up and go take a walk when you need to, but that you will be able to do that, you know, obviously with assistance from crutches and from me and from the knee scooter.
The knee scooter. Oh, knee scooters are so great. And
Mary
I have a
has
cute basket
this
on mine.
fantastic knee scooter with this cute basket.
I know, and it's sparkly blue. The scooter itself is sparkly blue, and then it's like a wicker basket meant for a bicycle, but I figured that the basket was so cute we could use it around the house when we're done. And oh my gosh, it is the handiest thing.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, if you find yourself in the need of a knee scooty or any kind of other mobility assisted devices that's on wheels, I highly recommend a basket of some kind, because it saves you. Saves me.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. So what have you been doing this week is a self-care experiment.
I'm so happy I can say this in one word, and I've been doing it quite a lot this week.
Oh.
I've been baking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been baking all kinds of things.
Jacob loves to bake. Fun fact. And I am not at all upset about it.
You know, here's what's great about baking. Baking is cheap. Baking ingredients are really cheap, and there are resources for recipes and for ideas and for just inspiration just all over the place now.
Yeah,
you don't need
everywhere.
books. You just need the internet, and you have baking things for life. And so, like, I don't think I'm bad at baking. I don't think I'm particularly good at it either. I just like doing it because I think it's fun and it's low stress and it's cheap. And if it comes out bad, you know, I didn't waste too much money on it, and I still had fun trying, and I can try again. So
yeah, I definitely like this one a lot. Even literally just last night, you made a vegan, gluten-free cinnamon spice coffee cake with nutmeg.
And how was it?
It was really good.
Okay, well,
I mean, like, for me recently,
Thanks.
we've discovered that I was like, when I eat things, it feels like knives are stabbing me in the gut inside. And then we found out, oh, I can't eat gluten. Gluten feels like knives. Fun fact.
Food shouldn't feel like knives,
Yeah,
but
so
gluten does.
I can't eat that anymore. So we've been like experimenting with, well, you've been experimenting with different flour combinations and stuff like that. So last night was also kind of like a different blend, but I still think it turned out well.
I think so too. And it's fun. It's like having a little low stress chemistry lab, because nothing's gonna literally blow up on me unless you throw a bunch of baking soda and vinegar into the oven. Which don't do that. But
No.
For the most part, things aren't gonna literally blow up in my face, and I can experiment and just see what tastes good, what works, and what doesn't.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about you, Mary? What's been your your focus this week for positivity?
All right. Well, mine is more focused around a particular event that happened this week. This isn't quite as happy-go-lucky as baking. I wish it were. So I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder and panic attack disorder, and I had a particularly terrible panic attack this week. I get them regularly, and they're not as frequent as they used to be in general. They kind of came out. They started when I was in third grade, and I was taking these things called Mad Minutes, which are evil.
Yeah.
It was basically...
I remember those.
Yeah. So they were 100 multiplication, division, addition, subtraction problems, whatever we were studying at the time. And we had 1 minute to do as many as we could. And like that was our grade out of 100. And the first time I looked at one of these things and the timer started, I froze. I started sweating. My heart was pounding. I felt like I was going to fall over and die. And I didn't know what was happening to me. And I continued to experience this with almost every kind of test in school from third grade all the way through high school. I did reach out for help, but I was always a very, very good student. So take that as you will. I never got the help I needed until I was 18. And they were like, oh, yeah, you have this thing and we can fix it easy. So when I was in college was so easy because I got to take my tests in the library in a little quiet cubicle by myself, and I got to take twice the amount of time to take it. And just having all those conditions set up that way, I would fly through tests like I never had before.
Side note, I'm so glad that like someone in an institution and could recognize that that's a real thing. Because when you're in third grade and you have an institution telling you this is what you're going to be graded on, you should not have a problem with this. That can be really warping, you know. That can really go deep in effect. And I'm really glad that eventually, I'm sorry it took so long, but eventually someone, as a part of an academic institution, recognized what was actually going on. So.
Yeah, because when you're that, how old are you in third grade? Like 8?
7 or 8.
It's really hard to articulate what you're going through.
Yeah.
I just kept saying, like, I felt like I was gonna die every time I took a test. And if it was a bigger test, like a state exam or, the SATs I tanked. They didn't figure that out until I had already bombed the SATs twice. It's just a horrible feeling. So that's kind of how it manifested. There's a genetic predisposition in my family. Several people have, like, panic disorders and such. So this week, that was a long get around, but I thought like a little brief history was necessary. So if you suffer from something, like, keep speaking up until someone can help you. It took me, I suffered for way too long, I think.
Pro tip.
I'm really glad I finally found the help I needed.
Yeah.
So this week, I had a really bad panic attack in a way that I haven't really experienced a panic attack before. So during a test, I would freeze up and panic, but not in the way I did this week. I was on the couch. I curled into a little ball. We had just watched a news show, and the current events and stuff can send me into panicky spirals sometimes, and I'm aware of that within myself. So I try to balance things. This podcast is a way that I do that. And I was just in such a deep spiral. I was curled up in a ball on the couch, and I felt like if I moved, I was going to die.
Yo, no fun.
Yeah, it's like this weird mixture of compulsive negative thoughts obsessively, and also, I think that's a form of OCD. I wonder if I have that too.
Yeah, I think it's an offshoot of it, because I also suffer from a panic disorder developed in high school. Not exactly the same thing.
We're quite a pair.
I don't know I still don't know to this day what really started it. But I know the sorts of things that triggered it, and then it was just, it was definitely OCD, because once you start thinking a panicky thought, it's really hard to stop thinking that panicky thought, and then that starts to manifest itself physically and can be really harmful and dangerous.
Yeah. So I was just hyperventilating on the couch, almost in tears, and I had to call out. It took so much strength to just call out to Jacob and be like, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I can't move. That's all I could say in the moment is I can't move. And Jacob helped me. He came over, and because when I have a panic attack, I get very, very inward and I internalize a lot. So I need the help of external things to pull me out of it. And in this circumstance, like touch really, really helped. So one at a time, we just like touched, or you just put your hands on one body part, just starting with one arm. And just so I can literally feel more of a sensation, because I get so small and so inside of myself, I'm just not physically aware of my external environment. It's a really, really odd situation. And as soon as I would try to move it, I was crying like crazy, but it was good. And then as soon as I had moved like a few body parts, I was able to articulate, I'm having a panic attack. This is irrational. This is what I'm experiencing. I can feel physical sensations, but I can't move them. I am frozen out of fear. And once I was able to articulate that and communicate it to you, it became easier. And after that, we just took things really slow for the rest of the evening, brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed and stuff like that. And I just found treating myself with such compassion, this has been a really long story just to get to compassion.
I think it's a deep and powerful intro to it.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, really practicing self-compassion in that particular instance after a panic attack, because you're emotionally drained, you're physically drained, you're just this vulnerable lump of a human afterwards, just trying to settle in and become grounded in some sort of normalcy. That it was good. I think not just the way we handled it during, but especially the way that we handled it after the fact for the rest of the evening really, really helped. I slept well that night. I was able to get out of the panic with care, with compassion, and it makes a huge difference. So thank you for all of your help with that.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad I could. I think this relates actually quite a bit to the quote I started off with today.
Yeah.
What's interesting with panic attacks is that is mostly internal. Like, it can be affected by external things. Like you said, you had been watching a news show, and that definitely triggered some things. It's coming from within, and it's important to remember that good things that can fight that can also come from within. And it's important, I think, to practice those things and to make sure that you have the tools necessary to access them.
Exactly. Just figuring out the coping mechanisms that work for you, knowing when you do need to ask for help, which ties in with last week, because when I have a panic attack and I feel one coming on, I have certain strategies that I take to make it, I can't stop it necessarily, but to make it blow over a little less painfully. But with this one, I was like, I've never experienced this before. I need help. So as soon as I could muster the strength to, I called for assistance. So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we got through that, you got through that, and that you have this mindfulness to be compassionate towards yourself. I think that's really great.
Yeah, self-compassion, which is something that I've struggled with in the past, and I continue to revisit because it's really important.
Yeah.
So, now it's time to move on to our next segment!
Yay!
Community News! That's what we're calling it now.
We are officially decided, and it's much better when you sing it. I've decided just this
Oh,
moment.
thank you.
So.
I just had it pop into my head earlier, and I was like, can I do this? And you were like, heck yes! So yeah, community news. This is our segment where you, the listeners, send in good things that happened to you this week. We give you a little shout out, a little toast, and we just celebrate the fact that you're awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. On social media, I'm Miss Mary Lou, LU with underscores. I send out a tweet on my Insta story and also on my Facebook page. But you can send these to me anytime. We also have our Gmail account, PositiviTeaPodcast @gmail.com, that you can send us good news to us and then I get like positive little awesome nuggets all week long.
It helps us a lot. Also, we like to share these things. So if you want, if you want to share, we would love it.
Yes.
And we would love to feature what's going on in your life.
Yeah, totally.
As well.
So to start out with today, we are going to the Miss Mary Lou Facebook page. This is from Christina Cummins. She said, I got to spend the weekend with my friends, and when I came back home, I had a package filled with new teas waiting for me.
Yes.
Yes, Christina.
Love it.
That sounds, kind of heavenly. Have a good week, spending time with people that you love, and then coming home to like a present from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's also tea. This girl knows the way to my heart.
Okay, we can speak to having had all the teas all the time, how it's still always such a wonderful feeling to have a new tea. It's just so exciting.
I know. We do a pretty good job of trying to finish up what we have, though.
I don't like to waste tea, but we do have a lot of tea, and it feels good to get new tea.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about it because it's like kind of my job to drink tea.
Right.
I'm not mad about it. So you're awesome. Thank you so much for sending that in. I think that's freaking great just to hear that someone had an awesome weekend with a little treat themselves moment.
We love it.
Right?
We love it.
That's like self-care. That's awesome. So
You
yay,
go.
you. All right. Next, we're hopping over to the Miss Mary Lou Instagram. This is from Kenyon.Casey. And she said, I woke up at 5:30 a.m. today and wasn't in a terrible mood. That's pretty good.
Woo!
Yes.
For sure.
5:30, Casey. Oh my word. Kudos to you for not kind of sinking into the seemingly inevitable, oh my gosh, my life sucks at 5:30 a.m. thing. Like, I'm usually awake at 5:30 from the night before. Insomnia.
I don't know what my mood is at 5:30. I'm generally not awake at 5:30.
No, Jacob
But
is
if I
my sleeper person.
do have to wake up that early, I know that it can be very difficult not to be angry
Yeah.
at everything.
I know. We had to wake up for my surgery at like, what, 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
4:30?
So kudos to you,
Yes,
Casey.
Casey. That is a feat. That is epic. Like, you get a gold star for the year because you are in... You did real good. So, yes, Casey. You go, Glen Coco. Make yourself a cup of tea. You're awesome.
Take a nap.
I know, right? Take a nap. For sure. Naps save lives.
Yeah.
I don't know why the U.S. hasn't adopted siesta. It's awful. I think everyone would be a lot happier.
Some of us have.
Yeah, I have. We're a little unconventional, though. We don't do the typical 9-to-5 workday.
I do. I have trouble napping. Who am I kidding?
Well, even siesta, just taking that hour in the middle of the day to breathe,
rest,
to relax,
to
to
not
rest yourself.
Push forward and push through your exhaustion. Yeah.
Yeah. So this last one is also from Instagram.
Okay.
This is from Cjar8989, who is a really, really regular commenter on Instagram, on YouTube. I see you. I appreciate you. Always such wonderful things to say. Great episode suggestions and all that jazz. And I am happy to share with you that they got their braces off this week.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. Yo, I had braces for 7 years.
Okay, I had braces for like 10 months. But still, it was fantastic. It was the best day ever
Getting them off. I know. And they like take pictures of you and you're like, wow, that's what my mouth looks like now. So can super relate. That's amazing.
Does it feel super weird too? Is it like the way your tongue interacts with your teeth like for a
Right?
little while? Like...
Do you just find yourself looking at your teeth because you're like, wow.
Wow.
Wow. This is amazing. And if you are watching, side note, if you are watching on YouTube right now, you can see us making our funny faces. We usually do that at the beginning.
Right, we didn't, but we can make these faces for you.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I really wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, good.
So congratulations.
Yeah.
That is a huge feat.
We're so happy for you. I'm like
know.
reliving that day in my head right now that I'm thinking about this, and it's so good.
You can eat certain foods again.
Right.
Like, what can't you eat with braces?
Popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
Hard candy, right?
Yeah. Apples.
Apples are difficult, or maybe you're not supposed to. I don't really remember.
I grew up in apple country, so there was definitely a period of my life where apples were not accessible, and it was tragic.
Oh. I just remember it being really difficult to floss in general, and that being really frustrating, because even while you avoid food like that, you just don't want to floss your teeth.
Yeah, you never got cavities before.
Before I had, well, my teeth before I got braces were like, there were huge gaps between them, so didn't need.
And when they got put together, you're
didn't
like,
need much
oh.
effort from me to avoid food getting stuck there and forming cavities. But
You
now
were a big candy eater too.
oh yeah,
I
could
still
do it.
knock on wood. Oh, I don't know if there's any. There's wood behind me.
Yes. Woohoo!
To this day, I have never had a cavity in my life, and I'm 28.
Well, we want that to keep going for you.
Yeah, we're knocking on the entertainment system behind us, on our fireplace.
On our fireplace.
We're using a different fireplace this week. A different YouTube video of a fireplace on our TV, and it looks quite lovely. Actually, I'm a fan of this one a lot.
Yeah, we're trying them out.
Yeah. So good. All right, so
Great.
that's our community news.
Yeah.
Congratulations to everybody. Don't forget to send me your happy super fun times, and it will just make our weeks, and it might be featured on the podcast.
Woo!
Good news, everyone.
I have good news.
It's good news.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the segment where we like to bring you a good news story and focus in on it. There's a lot of bad news that gets a lot of attention, but there's always a lot of good news also.
Yeah, we'd like to put a little bit of a spotlight on some extra good stuff happening in the world.
Yeah. So this good news story comes from the news source Today.
Okay.
And is about a guy named Albert Lexi. He did recently pass away, but what this news story is about is his legacy that he left behind and a donation that he made, and it's very sweet. He worked for 30 years at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center Children's Hospital as a shoe shiner. He would show up twice a week. He would have to take like 3 buses to get in, and he would charge like $3 per shoe shine, and people would tip him too, and he was very sweet. And he apparently, over the course of these 30 years, saved all of his tips. Like, saved every dollar. And when he passed away, he left all of those tips as a donation for the Free Care Fund at that hospital, which is a fund that helps uninsured and underinsured children with medical care in Pittsburgh. And total, it was like $202,000. It was crazy.
Oh
the crazy amount for tips. But it's just very, very sweet. And
I'm actually crying.
Oh. Yeah.
This is like so sweet.
It's very sweet. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame for Caring Americans in 2010. And he was honored at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in 2010 as well. And with his donation, he said he just wanted to see the kids get well.
That is so amazing.
Yeah. It was really nice to read about.
What a
Very
nice
sweet.
article to surprise me with.
Oh,
this
yeah.
week.
We don't always talk about these things beforehand, so I surprised Mary with this
Yeah.
one.
Oh my god. That's probably not cute to hear me sniffling.
Well,
That's
it's
what
good
sweaters
it's good to cry, you know?
It is good to cry.
It's very healthy to cry.
Anybody else tear up during that story? Oh my god, that's the sweetest thing. So, cheers to you, Albert.
Yeah.
That, like, oh, what good humans
What a
there
good
are.
human.
Oh, wow. What a selfless guy.
For sure. And he wasn't someone with a huge income or tons of money either. Like, he had a very, very modest income working at this hospital for 30 years. All of his tips, all that generosity, he turned it back around.
That's
For something he cared about.
so incredible. That, you know, it really says something about a person's character where their financial situation isn't maybe the most stable, but they are still so generous with what they do. And gosh, we need more. We need more humans like that.
Yeah. I'm going to keep pushing this rose thorn metaphor too all day because I love it. But, you know, somewhere like a children's hospital where such a sad thing has occurred on the premise of that, where children are sick. And there's this like really incredibly sweet thing happening at that place. And it's just so wonderful to see the other side of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't have one without the other, even historically, right? Really terrible things that have happened in the world, whether it's a war or whatnot, there are always people that step up to do extraordinary things. I don't know, if you've seen this video? It's been a while since I've watched this, so I don't remember the details of who it was, etc. But there was this gentleman during World War II who dedicated his life at that point to rescuing Jewish people as much as he could, hiding them and making sure that they could live. There were a lot of people that did this, but this gentleman in particular, it was this video. He was invited to a gala. All he knew, I think, is he'd be receiving some sort of award. But what he did not know is the entire audience was filled with people whose lives that he had saved like 50 years prior.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and they all stood up and applauded him, and he was just, I'm gonna cry again. He was so overwhelmed with gratitude. And, you know, in that situation, he risked his life over and over and over and over again for people that he didn't even know, because he knew that there was injustice against them, and he chose to fight for what he thought was right. And he made a lasting impact. Like, those people have children, and their children have children that are here because of this one person. So one person can really make a huge difference. Think of all the kids that are going to be able to benefit from over $200,000 from the shoe shiner that worked there for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's good reminders that you matter. You can really make a difference, because it can kind of feel like you're drowning. And actually this week in the US, it was the midterm elections.
And it sometimes does feel that way when you start to focus on the negative things in the news. And I've been feeling this way a lot over the past few years, that you really feel like you're drowning, like there's no justice, like it's all just bad all around you. And then it's interesting to see how surprised we can be by stories like this, where you can see how such a simple thing can have such a huge impact in a positive way. And that's marvelous. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good to be reminded of, and it's good to focus on and think about.
The world's biggest tragedies bring out the world's biggest heroes. It's a thing I just made up. Oh. Quote Miss Mary Lou Ryan. I don't know. Maybe I heard that somewhere. But yeah, it sounds right. Because even now, like, there are people doing really, really incredible things. And I guess I'll bring it up. It's not very triggering for me anymore because we talked through it. But the thing that actually triggered my panic attack earlier this week was I have a fear of losing my health care. And if it got to the point where I couldn't get the medication that I needed so that I can literally function, I would have to leave the country. That can be a really overwhelming thought sometimes. Even my wonderful primary care physician, who I found someone who's really, really great with listening and working with me and is really compassionate, after the election and healthcare in the United States was under threat, he was crying in our appointment because he was just so concerned for what all of the changes could mean for me and my quality of life. Because if I don't have the medicine that I need, I'm just basically a pain-filled lump of a person that just can't function.
On the other side of the coin for that, though, here you have the fear of that coming from a place where you're not, that really shouldn't be even related to your medical care, right? Like things that politicians and the government and laws and things that aren't directly related to your care. And here you have your doctor, the person who is directly related to your care, completely understanding and bringing it up on his own.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that in and of itself is a really wonderful circumstance.
I'm really, really thankful because I have different chronic conditions. I don't mean for these episodes to be like listen to all of the things that are really messed up with Mary's health.
Chronic Conditions.
Mary's Chronic Conditions, a podcast. But I have a lot of chronic things centered around pain and whatnot, and I had some not so great doctors growing up, especially because it's one of the umbrellaed off-branch conditions that I have is a very misunderstood one. And, you know, I literally had adults that were doctors and adults in my life close to me who didn't actually believe that there was a problem wrong at all.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of doctor troubles. I was on the phone with this one primary doctor once. I was a teenager. I was being homeschooled half the time, and I was just having difficulty doing things like taking gym class. So I had a written excuse, and the written excuse had actually run out. So I called the doctor's office to get another one, and he said to me, well, we couldn't find anything wrong with you, so I can't write you that pass for gym. And I spent the next week trying to haul my body through in so much agony. And I broke down, and my body broke down, and I went and I finally got that note, and I was like, I'm not going to see that other doctor anymore. So just to have a primary physician who is so wonderful and understanding and compassionate, and that really fights for me is really wonderful. Yeah.
Great.
I've been hooking up all of my friends in Los Angeles with this doctor. Like, I think I have 4 people in my life, including you.
Including me.
That have this doctor as a primary care physician because of me.
And it's also been really great for my health and my well-being. So
yes.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that. So yay, doctors that listen and take their patients seriously and whatnot, because they make a huge difference. So cheers to compassionate doctors.
A drink to that.
A drink to that.
Drink my tea to that. Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so Kirk is gone now. He is on the planet. He can't get back up for whatever reason. There's some science fiction-y reason that the transporter is malfunctioning. So
does that mean the podcast is over? That probably means the podcast is over.
I was just gonna say that means I'm really enjoying this tea now because it's at a very good drinking temperature.
That's really delightful. We hung around for a little longer this week than we usually do. We are aiming for like the half an hour-ish minute mark. So,
this might be a little longer than that.
Yeah, but thanks for sticking around. I always feel better after recording these with you. I hope you feel better after listening to these.
We do.
Our dear audience.
And it's been really wonderful to hear the response from some of you from listening to this. And we're always curious as to how it's affecting you and want to hear more. So if you have thoughts about what you're hearing or about what you'd like to hear, again, you can reach out to Miss Mary Lou, L-U with underscores, at Instagram and Twitter.
And Miss Mary Lou page on Facebook as well.
And Miss Mary Lou page on Facebook.
And we have our PositiviTeaPodcast at gmail.com, where you can always send your thoughts in. They really make my day. Anytime I receive something, I'm like, Jacob, listen to this. It's so wonderful.
And that's been really great for us, too. And we hope that it's benefiting y'all as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, you want to sign us off, Mary?
Yeah, I'll sign you off with a quote for today.
Okay.
20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. We hope you have a wonderful week.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye, loves.
Bye.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week on the PositiviTea podcast. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Mary Lou, at PositiviTea, T-E-A podcast at gmail.com. And we are also on YouTube at the Miss Mary Lou YouTube channel. Wherever you are listening to us, please give us a like, a follow, a share, and leave a nice review. We would appreciate a little bit of positivity in our lives. The logo design is by Hilda Meyer Post. The music is by my co-host, Jacob Kahn. I am your co-host, Miss Mary Lou Ryan, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you on Thursday.